Hi, today I'm going to show the demonstration of using EHCache with Spring Boot. As in real-time scenario, in our project we implemented REST service to load data into the cache by using EHCache. So how we are handling this scenario in our project is, whenever we get a request, so we will take that request and we will send that request to REST service call. That REST service call will take data from EHCache and it will give as a response. uh, Today, I will show how we can use EHCache with Spring Boot. So I will open my IntelliJ. First, I will show what and all the POM dependencies I added to develop this application. So the POM dependencies, we need Spring Boot Starter Web, and we need Spring Boot Starter Cache, and we need a transaction to 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 commit data into EHCache object. We need transaction, and we need EHCache. These two dependencies we need, org.ehcache and net.sf.ehcache. Then we can go for the scenario. Now I'm I'm explaining the scenario, that is, so first I will take one Java object and I will pass some name to the Java object, and once again next time if I pass same name, it won't go and hit that method. It will take data from caching object and it will give that as a response. For that, okay, yeah, when we are going to EHCache implementation with Spring Boot, first we have to go through ehcache.xml. What is this ehcache.xml? So this ehcache.xml is the configuration file. We are making configurations, so how much time the cache wants to be remain, how much time the cache wants to be live, how many maximum entries we have to write into the local disk. All this information we will configure in ehcache.xml. This is a default cache implementation, so if we won't provide anything, it will take the parameters from default cache. Here we stored disk store dot path. This disk store path is, so basically the EHCache will store all our cache information into some directory. So for example, in this scenario, it will store data into local system. Sometimes we have to pass where it wants to store into our local system. For example, most of our applications we will deploy in Linux box. We have to tell where our EHCache wants to store our cache. So mostly we will pass this user.directory information from system.setProperty. If we do anything in system.setProperty, that will be set the values at runtime to the JVM. Okay, so now I am maintaining one cache object. So I am taking the cache object name as name object, and the maximum elements in memory I assigned as 10,000, and how much time it is, we gave 600 idle seconds and live seconds 3600 seconds. And overflow to disk is, for example, the data is whatever the maximum entries to local disk we gave. After it exceeds that limit, so it overflows and it allocates some memory, and we can start coding. First I will go to names cache object. First I told every time I will send one name value to the object, and I will store that object, and next time same name if I send, it doesn't wants to go inside of the method, it wants to return data from the cache. So I already taken the name model object. Inside of that model object, name is there, but we must have to implement serializable. Why? Because we are writing in EHCache scenario, everything we are writing in a file. We must have to implement serializable. Why? Because internally it is using input and output stream object, same as like serialization and deserialization concept they are using in the internal implementation. So we have to use implement serializable. We have to go, then we have to start our dev. So first of all, I'm taking my return type as name object and get name, and I'm passing string name. So I'm taking name object, name equals to new name. Name is already defined, so I'm taking name 1 and name 1 dot set name equals to name. I'm passing the parameter and I'm returning name 1. Name 1. I have to make this as a cacheable. So at the rate cacheable. So I have to give the value. What is the value I have to give here? Whatever the value I defined in EHCache.xml, that is name object. So I will take this name object and I will copy here. And we have to provide a key. What is the key here? Key is a parameter. So key is a parameter. When we are defining keys, we have to add hash keyword. That's done. And next we have to call this method. So whenever we are going to this, first we have to define a cache configuration. So this cache inbuilt to enable the caching mechanism in Spring Boot, we have to add a notation at the rate enable caching. Then automatically our Spring Boot will enable caching. And we have to define two beans. One is EHCache manager factory bean and EHCache manager. If you don't define these two also, your application will work. But only the advantage is we have to overwrite our own EHCache.xml. Then we have to overwrite EHCache manager factory bean and also EHCache manager. So these are the two beans which got defined for configuration. Then we can go for implementation. So here what I told, I will pass one parameter as one parameter to name cache get name method. Next time same parameter I will pass. So it don't go inside of the method at second time. First time it will go, and next time onwards it will fetch data from cache. So I will write system.out.println get name method for testing. So then I can call that method. So here this is a static method, but inside of names cache, this get name is a normal non-static method. To call that I need a bean. So here I need a bean. So application context spring application dot run of which we need EHCache dot class. Then we have to take bean. So now application context dot get bean of what we need EHCache home. Now EHCache I will execute the method. I will implement the method create. Okay. So here I have to write that method. Now where is that method is available inside of names cache. So I can auto wire it. I can call names cache dot get name. I'm calling a see here I configured 2 times this cache configuration, first time go inside of the method and it will load the cache object. Next time the data will get from cache. Now I will run this application. See, the getName method is called only once. Now I will show for names cache, I will comment at the rate cacheable. See, the getName method called 2 times because of the @cacheable. Because of @cacheable mechanism, the logic is not went inside. So already name is already captured. So the same name we sent it to from cache and it gave as a response.